Alright, YouTube, David Harry here. Now what I'm going to be doing for the next few videos and over the next few days is breaking down some of the problems that I've immediately come across from using PUBG 1.5 on the iPad Pro M1 2021. Now what I'm going to try and do is keep these videos focused onto one particular issue, whether that's an issue directly to do with the iPad Pro M1 or whether that's to do with it being compared to the 2020. I'm going to try my best to keep these things like as straightforward and as simple as I can and try and keep the videos as short as I can. But obviously these things need a little bit of description as well in order for us to know exactly what's going on and what the problems are. So what I'm going to do in this first video is specifically deal with one particular issue, and that's the fact that we've got no shadows when we are in ultra mode on the M1 version of the iPad Pro. So what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to get down, well, as soon as I get on the floor here, I will show you some settings. But the basic problem is, like I've just said, is there's no shadows. So even though shadows are switched on, they're on. So we're definitely losing quality, as it were, and to a degree it's detail that we're losing as well. Now let me just make sure there's no one around me before I start looking at settings so I can't get killed. Now the first thing to do is just to show you that I'm actually, oh look, someone's coming over. Let me just have this person off here. As I say person, it's a bot. Let me just do this one in first. Okay, what it is, I just don't want to be getting into any combat and stuff, but I don't really need people to be trying to kill me either. The problem is when you're doing tests like this, you get in it. Look, see, there's another one now. Look, right, I've already tried to do this video 3 times, right, and this is what's happening. I'm getting inundated with bots. So what I need to do is just clear my path here, and I can't really do nothing until I've got these out of the way, unfortunately. I know this kind of extends the video a little bit, but it's a bit of fun, I suppose. But like I said, I've already tried doing it 3 times. I can't get anywhere. Okay, now what I'm going to do is let me just show you the iPad that I'm on here. So I'm going to go to settings, and I'm going to go to general and about. Now as we can see there immediately, I am on the 3rd generation. So this is the M1, so this is the 11-inch and it's the 3rd gen, so you can clearly see that there, so we know for sure what I'm on. Now let me go back here to PUBG. Now what I'm going to do, as we can see actually straight away, there are no shadows anywhere. There's no shadows from me, and there's absolutely no shadows anywhere else. So what I'm going to do now is let's just jump into settings and I will show you the graphic settings. So as we can see here, I'm in Ultra HD, and I'm in that, and that's as far as obviously the graphic, like, you know, resolution is concerned, or the graphic rendering is Ultra HD. Then frame rate is on Ultra. Now as I scan down here, we can see anti-aliasing is switched on. Oh, there we go. Shadows are switched on. So shadows are on. Let's go back. There's no shadows at all. Now let me just try and see if fiddling with any of these settings might bring the shadows back. So let me go to graphics there. In fact, do you know what, let me switch shadows off. Right, let me okay that. I'll go back to the game. Of course there'll be no shadows because I've just switched them off. Now let me try switching them back on again. Let's see if that makes any difference. So shadows on, okay that. Go back to the game. No shadows. Okay, now let me try and switch off anti-aliasing and see if that gets us anywhere. So anti-aliasing off and shadows are left on. Let's see what happens here. Okay, so still nothing there. Now interestingly, I'm going to switch off shadows as well, so that's going to be shadows and anti-aliasing switched off if I get to the right menu. So shadows off there, okay that. So as you can see now, shadows and anti-aliasing are off, and we are on the highest possible graphic setting. We can't go to UHD, it doesn't exist at the moment, and obviously in order to like get a decent frame rate and what have you, it'd have to be ultra on the frame rate, but Ultra HD for the graphic rendering. Okay, in fact, let me just go to lobby here, see if there's any settings that would conflict. Do you know what, just in case it's a bit of a mess up, I'm going to switch shadows and anti-aliasing on for lobby. It shouldn't alter anything because we're actually in gameplay right now. And if I go back to combat here, well that's weird. Okay, so between lobby and combat it's not actually different because I've just switched it on lobby, and then in combat it switched it back on again. Actually, am I getting shot here? Just a second. Oh, right. I'm sorry about this, but like I say, every time I've tried to do this test, it doesn't matter where to go. I'm just going to get surrounded by bots, so I have to deal with them. And the thing is, I want to do these in one take just so people can see exactly where I'm up to. Alright, so let's go back here to the settings. So graphics, as you could see there. Now I think that this is a bug, because why would you have combat and lobby as two separate options, yet when you change the settings in one, it's changing them in the other as well? But nonetheless, I've switched them both on there from lobby settings, and obviously we've got nothing left, so we haven't got anything switched on. So let me just go back to graphics again here. So I'm going to switch these off again, so anti-aliasing and shadows, and that's in combat mode. Okay, so let me okay that, go back, and we'll see again, there's nothing, yeah, there's no shadows. Now interestingly, I'm just wondering if I can get anywhere to see what the, you know, whether aliasing is off or on. In fact, that building in front of us there, we should be able to see all those straight edges and stuff start shimmering. So where the balcony is there, and all, like, you know, the rails on the balcony and what have you, they should start shimmering a bit because aliasing is switched off. And any detail on the roof and stuff like that, or any detail in brickwork. So yeah, there we go, that building there, the edge on that building right in front of me, we can see that dancing all over the place probably. So there are instances here of aliasing that we can obviously see. Now also as well, I'm using 4K graphics here, that's what it's set to. For the, you know, for the actual like building textures and stuff like that, and I'm recording in 4K, so we could clearly see there that there was stuff going on with aliasing. Now let me just go back and switch anti-aliasing back on, because I don't think that anti-aliasing is working either. So anti-aliasing is back on there, so let us go back here. Oh okay, no it has, yeah, there's definitely been an improvement there. Okay, so slap me wrist, hold on. Naughty David accusing PUBG on the M1 of not doing proper anti-aliasing, you fool, when it was. Okay, so we can see there, it's definitely doing anti-aliasing, right, which is cool, because it just makes the edges of graphics and stuff look better in like certain scenarios, especially when we've got vertical stuff or things going up 45 degrees. But as we can obviously see, there's definitely no shadows. Now, give us a second. What I'm going to do is go back to graphics here. Oh, wait, there's somebody else is shooting at me again. Right, I'm going to have to deal with this bot. Again, I'm sorry about this. I know this looks like, yeah, I'm just like, you know, making a long video. I'm not. Like I said, this is like the third time I've tried to record it. The weird thing is, because obviously I've now, look, there's two of them there I've got to deal with. Oh, this is annoying. Right, what it is, because I've like jumped in and I'm not like signed in as a, you know, as a full user, as it were. This is just a temp account that I've gone in with. Because I don't have any track record here, I'm positive that when you get thrown into these games when you're starting off, it's literally you against like 99 bots or something, because what you tend to find is just bots everywhere are popping up. In fact, there's going to be another video as well about how long it takes for a bot to kill you. I've just recorded that video, it's insane. Right, so here we go. So what I'm going to do is go back to graphics here. Now, I don't know if I can do this whilst I'm in game, but let me just go to low and smooth. Okay, right, I can't go down to smooth, so what I'm going to do here, if you give us a second, I'm going to just come out of this game and restart in a different graphic mode, just to see if we do get shadows when we go to the lower settings. Okay, so I've now restarted the game and I've got different settings, so let me just show you the settings here. So graphics, now I'm on balanced and low. Now the reason for that is that this is the least amount of stress that's going to be applied to the processor on the M1, but which should give us shadows. And as you can see, I've got anti-aliasing switched on, and then I've also got shadows switched on. So this is kind of like the lightest setup we can go for to get shadows on, because there's other settings here, but when I go to them, we just don't get shadows at the very lowest setting. Now someone's shooting at me there, I'm not going to bother with them, but as we can see, there's no shadow on me still. Look at that, no shadow on me. But if you have a look down here, let's see, yeah, there are shadows on the buildings and stuff, but not on me. And there's a lot of shadows missing as well. Let's see. Yeah, the draw and loadout distance for these shadows seems to be coming in late as well. But there's definitely no shadows off me. And earlier on as well, when we were testing it before, when we were on our highest graphics settings, there was simply no shadows off anything at all. So right now, in order to get some shadows, we've had to go to the lowest possible settings where shadows can be switched on. But even then, we don't get any shadows off me, and I'm fairly sure there'll be other shadow detail missing here as well. Okay, so I know this is kind of like dragged on a little bit, but I just want to be thorough about these things just so that people can understand and can see a bunch of the stuff that's going on the screen. And hopefully I've covered as much as I can to do with this particular issue. But right now, I've got to say, it's absolutely ridiculous what's going on here, because this is now version 1.5. And, you know, all the Apple fanboys out there are all going on saying, oh, the M1's way better than the 2020 or the A12Z and stuff like that. And whilst that is true as far as the process and raw power is concerned, or that's what we're led to believe, whilst these processors are in the likes of, you know, an iPad Pro, they're going to be dictated to by the iOS operating software and not the actual Mac software, which is what the M1s have been running on to date before the iPad Pro. So the problem that we're going to have is that, you know, there's going to be certain things that just might not work properly, you know, we don't know if this is going to be like ever. And, you know, people have been going on saying, oh, well, you know, just wait because it's going to get better. Well, here we go. This is version 1.5. And from what everyone's been saying, this was supposedly done in order to increase the graphic quality for the M1 processor. And it obviously has not. So right now, I've still got to maintain that the 2020 is a much better buy compared to the 2021. Or basically, the A12Z is a much better buy than the M1 for the iPad Pro if gaming is your main thing. And indeed there are other things where it actually beats the pants off it as well. So the A12Z definitely beats the pants off the M1 for various things. Yeah, I'm getting quite annoyed, to be honest, because, you know, like everybody who's bought into the M1 version, we were expecting to see a lot of uplift right across the board, and at least on graphics as well. So those of us who like playing, you know, games on iOS, we definitely bought into the M1 specifically to get better graphics and stuff and better gameplay. And also as well, the gameplay on this, and I'll show you in another video, it's dropping frames. The M1 is dropping frames on 1.5 when I'm in 60 frames per second. It just can't maintain it. I have to drop the resolution and everything right down in order to get a consistent frame rate. It's absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, it just sounds like I'm rabbiting on here and just mouthing off, and to a degree I probably am. And just bottom line is I'm really annoyed, you know what I mean? Like everybody else, I've paid a lot of money for this, and it just isn't doing, you know, what I want it to do. I mean, PUBG for me is less of a problem because all the stuff that I do is playing with the controller, so I'm more into like Call of Duty. But even Call of Duty, it's still better, you know, in certain ways on the 2020. So the A12Z still with Call of Duty is a better proposition. Anyway, I'm going to shut up, but hopefully, you know, people have kind of understood where I'm coming from with this one. And to everybody else who's bought into, you know, the M1 version of the iPad Pro specifically for, like, you know, the graphics side of things and especially gaming, you know, you've got my commiseration there, because, you know, I'm in the same boat. And for anybody else out there who just wants to start throwing just BS comments and stuff about, like, you know, how much better the M1 is, well, it isn't. We're already well into, like, you know, this whole thing between the M1 being available and the A12Z being available, and there's been a whole bunch of games that have been updated as well, and none of them have actually beaten the 2020 as far as the M1 is concerned. Now I'm talking Call of Duty Mobile and also Genshin Impact. Both of those games are still better on the 2020 compared to the 2021, and that's after major updates. So the biggest three games, quite possibly, I'd say, on iOS and on most mobile platforms are going to be PUBG, COD and Genshin Impact, and all three of them are better graphically and frame rate wise on the 2020 compared to the 2021. Yeah, do you know what, I'm getting off. I'm really annoyed. Anyway, yeah, if you've liked this, just keep an eye on the stuff that I'm doing to do with all this crap to do with PUBG 1.5 and the iPad Pro M1. Anyway, I'm David Harry. Thank you very much for watching this video. Take care and goodbye now.